Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Mo Better Blues, starring Denzel Washington, Spike Lee, Wesley Snipes, Joey Lee, and Cinda Williams, directed by who else? Spike Lee. Now, welcome to Spike Lee's encounter with Denzel Washington, as I have reviewed a couple of his films before, like Do the Right Thing and Black Klansman. Now I'm looking forward to seeing what he's got coming with Mo Better Blues and other films that he did with Denzel. And I'm curious about him. I've seen one of those movies before, which was Inside Man, which I will be reviewing for the show. And after this review and every other Spike Lee review, I'm gonna just straight up talk about the ones that I went back to right after this. So let's start with that really quick before I get into the movie. And I started rewatching Do the Right Thing, which is a film I reviewed before, and I really like that movie. Let's see how this goes. Let's get into it. We go through opening credits. We open in Brooklyn in the year 1969 with Bleak Gilliam as a kid, as his mother tells him to finish his lesson on the trumpet, while his childhood friends, led by Giant, calls him a sissy for doing what his mama told him, which sounds sad to me, while his father is trying to watch a baseball game, but is forced to tell Bleak to listen to his mother while missing part of the game on the TV, while his mama feels abusive as fuck in his childhood and years later, Bleak, as an adult, played by Denzel Washington, plays the trumpet and it clubs with in clubs with Giant as an adult, played by the movie's director Spike Lee, is his manager, and plays along with a saxophone player Shadow Henderson, played by Wesley Snipes, pianist Left Hand Lacey, played by Giancarlo Esposito, bass player Bottom Hammer, played by Bill Nunn, and drummer Rhythm Jones, played by Jeff Tane Watts. And I like these characters as they're very good with their instruments as well as their performances. After they play, the band goes backstage and talks, and I like the dialogue Spike Lee writes for the screen, as it is genius, while the club announcer Butterbean Jones, played by Robin Harris, may he rest in peace, talks to the pretty people as well as the fat people, and he's great in this role. As we move on to the next morning with Bleak waking a woman named Indigo Downs, played by Spike's sister Joey Lee, up, and he plays the catch with the baseball with someone who I'm thinking is Blake's father, as Bleak is not ready to make commitment to a marriage, and that's a fantastic performance by Denzel Washington, as his performance was the strongest out of any of them. Bleak practices playing the trumpet later in the day as he's visited by Clark Bentoncourt, played by Cinda Williams, visiting him as she gets the time all mixed up, and they have sexual intercourse until she bites Bleak's lip. And her performance was great, as well as these actors are great with their performances throughout. And the cinematography is well shot throughout the entire movie, while Giant bets on baseball with a bookie. Then he goes to a nightclub as he argues with the two doormen, while they taunt him, and the script is well written by writer, producer, director, and star Spike Lee. Giant lets Bleak and the rest of the band inside the building, except for Left Hand Lacey, and he shows up late with a French woman as they talk some shit about her because she fucks him up. Because she's white, which seems fucked up, as Giant scolded Left Hand Lacey. Meanwhile, later and on, Giant meets with Mo and Josh Flatbush, played by John and Nicholas Turturro, and talk about how busy they are since their band started playing there and is unsuccessful at making a renegation, with their contract. And the Turturros were great here as well, as the production design and set decoration was fantastic this whole movie. Giant meets with Shadow as he smells perfume on his bed sheets, and Shadow asks for a raise, while Bleak and Clark are in bed together, and she asks him to sing a number in the club with his band, to which he declines, and Bleak writes a piece of Clark to sing, and Denzel can sing for damn sure, even though he doesn't sing in other movies, despite he can, as the next day comes and Bleak and Giant fend off requests from other members of the band, particularly Shadow, for a raise due to the band's success at the club, while Left Hand Lacey is once again late. While this is working for a musical drama, Bleak goes to the club owners to see about more money, which they refuse, reminding him that it was Giant who locked him into the current deal. And this movie is tremendous to watch as, Bleak raps a love song and dances on it, and Spike Lee knows how to have a good time at the movies when he's behind the camera, and the editing is well put together. While that night at the club, both Clark and Indigo arrive at the club to see Bleak, as they're wearing the same dress in which Bleak has purchased for both of them, and he intends to work it out with both girls, but they're both upset with him over the dresses. And though he sleeps with both of them, and again, they leave him after he calls them by different names, which is not cool at all, as tension rises with Shadow, who has feelings for Clark, and I feel bad for Clark and Indigo because the same motherfucking guy slept with both of them, and this movie does a great job at making me feel things for the characters, whether it's love and hate, amongst other things. Bleak and Giant take a bike ride where Bleak insists to Giant he'd do a better job managing and bringing in money, as Giant promises to do so, and then asks Bleak for a loan to pay off for a gambling debt, as he declines, and later Giant is approached by two loan sharks named Madlock, played by Samuel L. motherfucking Jackson, and Rod, played by Leonard L. Thomas, who demand payment while Giant can't pay his and gets his fingers broken, which has gotta fucking hurt, as later Giant tells Bleak that as he fell off his bike on the ride home, but Bleak does not believe him, and Giant asks for other band members for money, and this movie is sometimes funny, sad, and felt very real at heart. Left Hand Lacey loans him $500, and by him I'm talking about Spike Lee's character, when Giant, that's his name, when Lone Shake Sharks stakes out by Giant's house, and he goes to Bleak for a place to stay, and Bleak agrees to help him raise the money, but fires him as a manager, and and Bleak misses both of his girlfriends, leaving messages to each, but Clark has begun a new relationship with Shadow, and Bleak finds out about it. He fires Shadow from the band, and come on, Bleak fucked up in that one, as that they don't want to deal with him acting like an asshole about it. The loan sharks track Giant down at the club before Bleak can come up with the money, and they take him outside and beat his ass. While Bleak is playing, he goes outside to intervene and gets his ass beaten as well, and additionally, Madlock takes Bleak's own trumpet and smacks him across the face with it, and this not only puts Bleak in the hospital, but permanently injures his lip, making him unable to play the trumpet ever again. And it was a violent scene, but it had to happen at some point because he got involved with bad people. And this is what happens when you fuck with people like that. But it was a very good message to not fuck with people like that. Months later, Bleak reunites with Giant, who has gotten a job as a doorman, and stopped gambling as he drops in to see Shadow and Clark, who are now performing together with the rest of Bleak's former band, and Shadow invites him on stage, and they play together as Bleak still has scars on his lips and is unable to play correctly. And he walks off stage and gives his trumpet to Giant and goes directly to Indigo's house when she is still angry with him because she hadn't heard from him in over a year, and she tries to reject him, but eventually she agrees to take him back when he begs her to save his life. And I feel pity for those two characters, as this is well shot, as it's a powerful film with performances from Denzel, Spike Lee's sister Joey, as they pull out their chemistry very well. A montage flashes through their wedding, the birth of their son Miles, and Bleak teaches his son to play the trumpet. And in the final scene of the movie, Miles is 10 years old, and he wants to go outside play with his friends, while Indigo wants him to finish practicing his trumpet lessons. However, Bleak relents and allows his son to leave and plays with his friends. And this final scene uses the same exact dialogue as the almost identical opening scene, which changes only the delivery of the dialogue, leading to an alternate conclusion. And the climax was beautiful, which made this a beautiful movie. And how good was this movie? Let's talk about it in a rating. I'll give this movie a 8.1 out of 10. I like these characters as they're very good with their instruments as well as their performances, and I like the dialogue Spike Lee writes for the screen, as it is genius, as Denzel Washington's performance was the strongest out of any of them, and the cinematography is well shot throughout the entire movie. The script is well written by the writer, producer, director, and star Spike Lee, as the production design and set decoration is fantastic, this whole movie, as Spike Lee knows how to have fun when he's behind the camera, and the editing was well put together, as this movie works as a musical drama, and this movie does a great job at making me feel things, whether it's love or hate amongst other things. This movie is sometimes funny and sad and feels real to heart, with some tremendous dialogue, and this is a solid recommendation for this movie because it is well made, as the shots are well done, and the climax was beautiful, and it makes this into a beautiful movie. And I really do like this movie a lot, as it's a very good movie. So I would like to thank you guys for joining me, and next time we'll be back with Malcolm X. And until then, show enough. You dig?